Good afternoon, early evening. My name is Daniel Van Arsdale. I'm an admissions advisor here at Bastyr. I've been here for about 6 years, and I have the pleasure of sitting here with Professor Nancy Perlow, and she's the program chair for the Masters of Science in Nutrition graduate school programs. Before we get started, I would like to do a little housekeeping. On your screen, you'll see a box that says Q&A with a question mark in it. Any questions that come up, please enter in that box, and when we are done with our presentation, we will read the questions out loud. And with that, I'd like to introduce Professor Nancy Perlow.
Hi, welcome this evening. I'm glad you're here and we get to learn together about our programs and yeah, let's take it away.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start talking tonight. I'm the professor and chair of the Department of Nutrition and Exercise Science, and I'm located here in Kenmore, Washington at our campus. And so I'm going to walk you through tonight before I hand it back over to Daniel, I'm going to walk you through kind of our paradigm around whole foods in some of our graduate programs in nutrition. So we have a philosophy about whole foods, and it's important to us because our paradigm in nutrition and it makes us special in ways here in our program. Our paradigm for healthy food and our nutritional approach has to do with whole foods, that we feel that whole foods provide for us what we need. And of course, not everybody all the time can eat whole foods. However, for the most part, we take approach about food in its entirety is what our body was made to eat. And so when we think of our mind, body, and spirit as being whole, we kind of take that approach with food and ingredients as well. A whole food rather than a nutrition isolates in food. Our approach, and to that end, we look at ingredients, and something that also makes our program special is we learn how to cook with ingredients as well. So we do not separate nutrition from the food or from the ingredient. And we feel that not only do you need to know about how your body metabolizes nutrients, you also need to know about the food that bring those nutrients to your body and how to work with the food so that your body can receive them. We have 3 degrees that we offer in our graduate studies that are nutrition forward. We have one that is on well, we have 2 that are solely on campus here up in Kenmore, and you may have also some instruction in San Diego. Our Master of Science in Nutrition DIDAC program in dietetics is solely located up here in Kenmore, just outside Seattle. And this degree is one of the degrees we'll talk about first. It's a pathway to becoming a registered dietitian nutritionist. It is delivered in person, and there may be a hybrid course here and there, depending if an instructor is at our campus in San Diego, but the students are located in person up here in Seattle. And then we have our MS in nutrition and our MA in counseling psychology dual degree, which is a 3-year degree. And we'll get into that a little bit more. That is also in person here at Kenmore, also San Diego, in person delivery. The Master of Science in Integrative Nutrition is an online program. So the Master of Science in Integrative Nutrition is our program if you are planning to attend nutrition higher education online. This is not a pathway to becoming a registered dietitian nutritionist without further education. However, it is the start of a pathway to allied healthcare through nutrition, and it is also offered online. And Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we're also having in-person classes in San Diego with the dual program.
I believe
Yeah.
when you mentioned the dual program, let me come back. Were you talking about the MS in nutrition and
MS in nutrition, master in counseling psychology, dual degree, 3 year.
good,
Mhm.
good, good question. It is solely on Kenmore's campus as well.
Okay. And I know that we have some instructors that are down in San Diego. So again, these are considered in-person courses, but that's not to say that you won't have an instructor joining from San Diego, and that would then be an online class, but it's not an online program like our MS in integrative nutrition.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So let's start with our Master of Science in Nutrition with Didactic Program in Dietetics. So that's a coordinated program. And what that means is we have, in order to be able to sit for the credentialing exam as a registered dietitian nutritionist, you need to have completed a master's and then also a DPD program, also known as the didactic program in dietetics. And so these two things come together to allow you to sit for the credentialing exam after you do also a supervised practice, like a dietetic internship. So the pathway to becoming a registered dietitian nutritionist, which is a pathway if you want to do in all states, be licensed to be able to do clinical care in hospitals, in your own individualized clinical practice. If you would like to be in public health as a registered dietitian nutritionist, a lot of quantity food spaces like hospitals, and military are beginning to require registered dietitian nutritionists to head up their quantity foods. This is the pathway for you. So we'll talk a little bit about this program, and we can answer questions later as well. But yeah, I'd like to start by talking about some of the career opportunities. I already talked about it a little bit. There's three pillars that we consider career opportunities for registered dietitian nutritionists, and one of those pillars is the clinical pillar. And so, as I stated earlier, you will see a lot of RDNs in hospitals. You will see RDNs in long-term care facilities. You will see RDNs working with nutrition throughout the life cycle, meaning they may be working in a hospital in infant care, or they may be working in a hospital in a hospital or other clinical settings with care for cancer patients and supporting their care. You may find them in their own clinical setting. A lot of RDNs, of course, have their own clinical practice where they see patients one-on-one in a prescriptive way. Another pillar is public health. You'll see a lot of RDNs in the public health space, in community food space, working on wellness on a community level. And then you have your pillar also of quantity foods. And those are the RDNs that become the directors of food within school districts or the military or for long-term care facilities. So that pathway is reaching people with nutrition directly through working with the food delivery on a quantity food scale. So in our program overview, we're accredited by Ascend. And so Ascend, the Accreditation Council for Education, Nutrition, and Dietetics. And we work closely with Ascend to make sure that our education is in alignment with their recommended and required outcomes called KRDNs. Every course here is designed to match up with a KRDN learning outcome right down to the assignments. So we have assignments that match up with the learning outcomes that are requirements of Ascend. We're working very closely with them. Our program is a 2-year program, excluding summer, unless you would like to take a course that you needed to take in the summer, um, or perhaps there's an elective course you'd like to take in the summer. So we do run summer courses. However, this program is designed to run fall, winter, and spring. And it takes 24 months full-time fall, winter, and spring. And it's based in Kenmore, as I said, with an average, with our credit hour of an average of $785 a credit hour. We have a 2-year curriculum, and here is a little sample of what the curriculum looks like. Now, it's a it's a master's of science degree. So, of course, you're not going to be surprised to see all the sciences here. And we start year one really hitting those sciences hard to create this foundation that you need to get you through the 2 years. So, if you're having prerequisites, you're probably going to be having some conversations with admissions about your sciences and being prepared with your sciences. As you can see in fall, we start out with biostats and macronutrients. And we also have research methods, nutrition and the life cycle, and moving into disease process. But then we go to micronutrients. We have our counseling skills for RDNs, lecture and lab, which is a lot about motivational counseling and working with clients. We have nutrition assessment and therapy. You know, how do we assess the nutritional state of folks? Where's our starting point? And as we assess, and how then do we choose the therapy that's best? I think you'll see some case studies in there. Whole foods production in spring. Whole foods production is a didactic lecture and lab course where you are learning to work with the food itself. So the lab is a cooking lab here. So it's a food systems based course, which fills our KRDN through Ascend, to discuss food systems. You know, what are the ingredients? How do they travel from farm to fork? And then how do we bring those ingredients to us in a very quality way? But then what happens to the nutrients in food as we cook it, as heat is applied, as cooling is applied? Does it alter the nutrients? And again, we don't separate here at Bastyr the nutrients of the food from the food itself. It's not just theoretical, it's in practice. We want you to leave here knowing how to work with whole foods ingredients and how to cook them. So as a clinician, when you're making recommendations to folks, it is not something that you yourself has not encountered, whether it's substituting food ingredients or just working with certain food ingredients. It's a very fun class. A lot of people like. In year 2 of our curriculum, we have Introduction to Dietetics. And in year 2, when you see courses like Food Safety and Principles of Quantity Food, Food Science, Food Service Management Skills, Food Service Capstone, those are our business courses. These are the courses where really, if you're in that pillar of quantity foods and you're out there in the world delivering quantity foods to people, say as a director of a hospital system or a director of a long-term care facility, food management, you have that business behind you. But also as a clinician, you want those business classes behind you as well. We have our food science, we have our global ecological issues, And so that is another food system course. And we have, you'll see clinical nutrition practicum. We have a rotation through our own clinic here, which is something else that makes our program special. We have a clinic that you take a rotation through, you work with patients and you work closely with advisors. You learn the tools, the technical tools for charting, like Epic, and you learn your presence with patients in a clinical setting in a clinic, which I think is really, really special. It's not something that you just learn about and then jump into in your career. You will have already made those rotations right here within your requirements.
Thank you, Professor Perlow. And from an admissions standpoint, this is an actual copy from the curriculum page. So if I may, the alphanumeric code you see, if you're curious what the class consists of, what are the outcomes, the goals, objectives, you can click on the alphanumeric code and it will give you a drop down that gives you more information of the content of the various classes. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. It's so handy to be able to do that.
Yes.
So after your if you're on the registered dietitian nutrition track, and that's why you signed up to attend a university that has a master's and a DPD, you're going to be going on to a dietetic internship. That could be here at Bastyr. We actually host a dietetic internship here at Bastyr. It could also be at other universities or supervised practice rotations in other parts of the country as well. But after your MSN DPD curricula is met and you graduated from the program, you will then enter a dietetic internship in that middle ground time before being able to sit for your RDN credentialing exam. And so the dietetic internship is a 10-month supervised work training program, or we call it supervised practice, that provides 1,200 hours of experience, again, in those rotations, those pillars, in the clinical setting. So you may find yourself in a hospital, in the community setting. You may find yourself in public health spaces and community food, and also, again, in that quantity food service setting. So you take the supervised rotation within the dietetic internship program after you graduate with your MSN DPD. So I talked about it a little bit in a broad view, but in a little closer range. It's a 39-week program here at Bastyr. The key components of our curriculum include 3 weeks of program orientation. And so you come in and you learn about the program, you learn about what to expect, you learn about preceptors, you learn about the field, and then there's 33 weeks of supervised practice at rotation sites in the community here and around Seattle, Bellevue, Kenmore. It's in the surrounding area, and you're spending a certain amount of hours at each place with a preceptor through a rotation of supervision, and you're getting to really see which parts of the field that you enjoy the most, but you get to practice in all of them. And then there's 3 weeks of vacation time as well, and some weekly seminars and projects as well. Okay, switching gears, we have a 3-year intensive program, which I really enjoy this program and its outcomes as well. This program not attached to a DPD, didactic program in dietetics. So if you're becoming or a future RDN, you could take this program. You would still need to take a DPD program. But if you are wanting to be an expert in nutrition and be able to be in the clinic in a counseling manner, which in that clinical space, one-on-one or otherwise counseling folks on health and wellness and nutrition and other areas of their whole self. This is a dual degree program that is 3 years in length. And again, one of the things that's special about this program, which I enjoy, just like in the MSN DPD program, you do have clinical rotations. So you are practicing your learned skills and clinical rotations as part of your requirement for this degree right here at Bastyr and in Bastyr prior to even going out into other supervised rotations. So the MSN in nutrition and master's in counseling psychology is has a lot of career opportunities. You have opportunities again in the clinical space, in your own clinical space as a mental health counselor in the more public health space. You could be a nutrition consultant, an educator, a wellness coach, a substance abuse social worker, a marriage and family counselor, because the Masters of Arts in Counseling Psychology, even on its own, allows you the diversity of practice. The Master of Science in Nutrition just really allows you specialized knowledge around nutrition, really being able to bring you into the space of maybe counseling in eating disorders or in motivation and wellness coaching when it comes to food and wellness. So our MS in Integrative Nutrition is our online program. And so if you're somebody who is thinking, I just really want to go to school online, I want to be a nutrition professional, this is a good program for you. It does not exclude joining a DPD program, standalone program later. If you want to pursue nutrition even deeper as a clinician, on its own, it's a great degree for somebody who would like to do nutrition consulting in groups. If you would like to be a wellness coach, if you'd like to be a nutrition educator or in nutrition marketing, perhaps you want to write about nutrition, perhaps you would like to do content, create content around nutrition. This is a really good program for that. And so I think Danielle is your advisor for the MS in Integrative Nutrition and can definitely help you with more information if you are looking to go into nutrition this way. Now, one thing that we want to make clear is that the MS in Integrative Nutrition does not necessarily bring you to a clinical practice in all states, but there are some states with the MS in integrative nutrition where you would be able to practice in a more clinical space. Some of those things are regulated state by state. The difference between the MS and integrative nutrition and how you can practice is it depends on which state you are in, whereas the MSN DPD, if you have an RDN that's recognized across the nation in the clinical space. But this is a wonderful program for health coaches and anyone passionate about nutrition as well.
And as Professor Perlow mentioned, if you want more information, please contact me. My full email will be towards the end of this presentation, and we can talk about your options. I have resources that you can view specifically for the MS in Integrative Nutrition.
I'm going to be handing it back over to Danielle. But here, if you would like to reach out, please reach out to your advisor first. And if you have specific questions about programs, we have different advisors in our program, in our department, and you will be forwarded to one of us. But I'm the chair of the department. You may be forwarded to me, and we can talk one on one. Also, we have our MSN DPD director and student advisor, Catherine Yulin, Professor Catherine, Professor Kate. You may see her name come up. You may be forwarded to Kate if you are interested in the MSN DPD program or you have special questions about that program. The didactic intern, the DI program, our director and student advisor is Dr. Cynthia Bartok. So if you forwarded to Dr. Cynthia Bartok, she is the director of our DI program. And then somebody that you'll be talking to a lot if you come into our program, especially around food systems and research, is Dr. Rose as well. So you may see any of our names come up in your journey to entering Bastyr.
Thank you, Professor Perlow. And so my responsibility in this presentation is how to get you from where you're at to the program, how to apply. Our application requirements for the MS in nutrition, we will handle these programs one at a time, are required to have a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited institution and a minimum cumulative GPA of 3.0 or 3.0 or higher in your final 45 credits. We not only look at holistic studies and things like that, but we also look at the incoming individuals holistically. Some, have to find their way when they first get to college and they finally get the rhythm of things and finish stronger than where they started. So we take that into account. So if you're worried about how your transcripts look, your records and things like that when you first started, let us worry about that for you. We'll take a look at them. We'll go from there. So we have various options. 3.0 GPA, 3.0 cumulative for the um, nutrition, MS nutrition program. And might as well say those two that are held in brick and mortar at Bastyr. It's 3.0 cumulative GPA, 3.0 prerequisite GPA, or last 45 credits in place of the cumulative. And exceptional candidates who do not meet these standards will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Some individuals that may come in with a 385 or 39 or 28529 can possibly be considered when other factors are determined. We have some old dates here, but they are still relevant if you're planning on applying for 2026. November 1st is early application deadline, and then February 1st is priority application deadline. What's the difference? There's money available, and I will talk about that in more detail. But we are a small institution, so we want to make sure that we have people securing their spots, and we want to make sure that those who want a space in the program are in early, and then you can worry about moving, changing your job, or something of that nature. Our final deadline is September 6th because our classes start in later September. So definitely want to be mindful of these program deadlines. Prerequisites for the Masters of Science in DPD, Didactic Program in Dietetics, human physiology or human or anatomy and physiology. And if you do anatomy and physiology, you would have to take the entire series that is offered from whatever institution you decide to complete the prerequisite at. Organic chemistry, science level. Now, organic chemistry, biochemistry definitely have to be science level. And biochemistry, the emphasis is within 7 years of start. And introductory nutrition is pretty much I think the easiest to start out with, because you can take it at any community college. We have online options. I can recommend some if you have an interest in those. And college algebra, statistics, or microbiology. Those are the requirements and prerequisites for the MSN DPD. Now, I should also say, let me back up. These are the requirements also for 2 out of the 3, MSN DPD and the MSN in counseling psychology. And the only difference is with the counseling psychology, the 7-year window also applies to your general psychology. Very rigorous program that mixes science with human interaction and working in high trauma engagement and being able to lean into those difficult moments with people. So it's a rewarding program. Some of the folks that have gone through it really enjoy it, and it's very apparent. We also have an alumni link that I can provide you with if you have further questions about the experience of students. So just check in with me if you're interested for more information. Anything programmatically that you have questions about, the rigor of the program, what happens once you have gone through the admissions process, Professor Perlow or her group can answer those questions. Steps to apply. Apply online at apply.bastyr.edu. And the second point is request your official transcripts. I have applications that it's taken a couple of weeks in some cases for people to get on the ball to get transcripts. Not that they can't get them. It's a small component, but it seems like the biggest sticking point to getting our applications through to the next step in the program. So please, if you are interested, get all official transcripts from every college and university attended. Even if you, I like to joke, even if you took underwater basket weaving at Jim Smith Community College, if it's college level or university, we need those transcripts. And you can send them via AppStat. And then check your email regularly for application updates. And for attending the webinar today, we'd like to waive your application fee with the code of Future Basterian. It's all uppercase, and when you complete your application, it'll ask if you have a waiver code, and you would type in Future Basterian. If you forget it or whatever else, just reach out to me and I can provide that for you. What's next? After your application and all official transcripts have been submitted, your application will be evaluated by the admissions committee. For MACP MSN applicants only, strong applicants will be invited to a program interview with the faculty. And if you're admitted to the program, your next steps include applying for financial aid, which I think that's kind of out of place. I would recommend making sure you have your financial safety net in place before you apply, and pay your enrollment commitment deposit and set up your Bastyr email. That's very important as well. Paying your deposit, it goes towards your tuition, and it's another form of securing your space in the program. It secures your commitment to attending Bastyr. And then setting up your email account as soon as you get a letter of admission, your email is to be set up because all communication will then go through the Bastyr email. You may have communication waiting for you as soon as you set your email up. So set that up and remember to submit all final transcripts by the start of the program. And be vigilant of your emails, even on the admissions journey. financing your education, being prepared to successfully finance your education is a critical part of your journey. I can't tell you how many times per application cycle individuals get everything in and forget their financial aid. So I cannot stress this enough to say, make sure that you have your financial aid in place. And we're going to move next to how you do that. You would submit your 2025-2026 FAFSA, and then you would submit your 2025-26 Bastyr financial aid application to www.bastyr.edu and submit as soon as possible prior to enrollment and provide any information requested, even if you think, well, why do I need to do this? There are accreditation agreements, there are financial aid agreements that we need information. Please provide it. Here's a good contact, Nancy Chrisman, graduate and undergrad financial aid advisor. Here's her email, nchrisman@bastyr.edu, and their phone number. And then there's a general email. If you have general questions, it's FinAid or FineAid, some say, at bastyr.edu. And you can explore our campus resources. Once you've paid your deposit, continue exploring all Bastyr has to offer. I would say that you can do this prior to, if you need that extra bit of information, engagement with individuals, and want to talk with students, see the campus. I would say come on in and schedule a campus tour. There's a virtual tour that I can provide you a link for. Um, you can, as we mentioned earlier, you could talk to faculty like Professor Perlow and her group. You can visit us on campus. You can schedule a guided tour with an admissions advisor. And you can also look at resources, visit the bookstore. I got this cool pullover that I got from the bookstore. You can order online as well from our Kenmore campus and get some really cool swag. Or if you need things like for your MSN program or any materials that would help support your learning, you'll find it in our bookstore. Now, we will leave this up for a little bit and we'll check for questions that we hope you had. And maybe not a whole lot of them since we answered such great, we provided such great information. Um, but here is our email, Professor Nancy Perlow, Program Chair, and me. My name is Daniel Van Arsdale, Enrollment Advisor.
Yes, happy to answer questions if you have any. This is such a good time to bring up, there are a few programs here and being able to take time to answer the questions and decipher either program information or just general information.
We'll give you a minute to think about some of the questions you may want to ask. And if nothing pops up, we will be respectful of your time and let you continue on with your evening. Well, we thank you for attending, and you have our emails if you have any further questions. And thank you for your interest in our Masters of Science and Nutrition programs here at Bastyr.
Thank you. Have a good night.